We were
fish there.
chasing the Germans,
Yeah.
and we're going. They were pulling back up out onto the Brittany Peninsula, and we were going to cross this bridge and over the Horn River, I think it was. And anyway, I looked down and I saw this beautiful Atlantic salmon hanging out on the wall outside this building down there, and I thought, oh God, if I could just stop and go down and fish like that now, I would love to be able to fish for one of those.
That was fly fishing legend Frank Moore talking about an experience during World War II that helped to keep him going strong. You are in for an amazing show today. This is episode number 46 of the Wet Fly Swing Fly Fishing Show.
Welcome to the Wet Fly Swing Fly Fishing Show, where you discover tips, tricks, and tools from the leading names in fly fishing today. We'll help you on your fly fishing journey with classic stories covering steelhead fishing, fly tying, and much more.
I had one big call to action for you this week. I have a little survey I want you to take if you have time. This will help me better understand who is listening out there and help me kind of guide more of the discussion. So the link will be in the show notes. It'll be at survey.lipson.com/wetflyswing. So don't worry about writing that down. Just go click over in the show notes and you'll see a link right at the top of the page. And that would help a ton. I'm going to run this survey here and then I'll get the information together and then I'll be able to better, like I said, direct the which way the show is going. In today's episode, I interview Frank Moore, a 95-year-old steelhead legend on the North Umpqua, a World War II veteran and the person who started a grassroots environmental movement in the 1960s that spurred on a lot of the legislation we have today. We talk about how he stalks steelhead and has fished many one-cast runs, how he learned that he was colorblind and it changed his life, and how Frank and Jeannie purchased the Steamboat Inn, a legendary lodge on the Umpqua. Frank shares a story about Jack Hemmingway, talks about Clarence Gordon, and Zane Grey's son, Romer Grey. Don't miss this one as Frank talks about a bill named after him in Congress that is slated to protect a large wilderness area around the Umpqua Basin. Before I get into the episode today, I wanted to quickly thank our sponsors. Ascent Fly Fishing has customized fly box selections that they put together for your unique stream. These aren't just flies in a box, but they analyze the insect community, do a summary, and provide you with the exact patterns that are in your stream when you're ready to fish. Just go to ascentflyfishing.com and use the coupon code WETFLYSWING to grab 10% off your next order. We are also brought to you by the original tie right, which holds flies and hooks securely so you can tie your fly on with little effort. The tie right senior holds hook sizes 2 through 14, and the junior holds hook sizes 14 through 24. Tie right can help you tie clinch knots and modified clinch knots and many other knots to suit your needs. Head over to tieright.com and get started today. That's ty-rite.com. So, without further ado, here's Frank Moore.
So maybe you can just start off with talking about, we talked a little bit about this just a few minutes ago, but how you got into fly fishing and how it all started and how the Steamboat Inn thing, kind of all that came to be.
Well, I got into fly fishing. Basically, I got into fly fishing because my father was a fly fisherman back in the 1920s. And when I was born, as soon as I was hatched, we were up out in the river somewhere. And I was born in a little town of Carlton,
Yep.
Out of McMinnville. And my first, we used to spend a lot of time up on Panther Creek, which is just a little stream just west of Carlton, up there in the hills.
It flows into like the South Yam Hill. Yep.
Yep. And I also fished back in the 20s and in the Yam Hill, South Yam Hill, the North Yam Hill.
Yeah.
Up out of Yam Hill and Carlton and up in that area.
It's all wine country now up there.
Yeah, and it used to be on that hillside below Carlton going west. That used to be a big mill endeavors out there, and they had that huge flat area was all pond. was all a big
like a
log pond.
Yeah, mill pond. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was huge.
Huh.
Huge.
So that was a huge industry when you were growing up in there. Yeah.
Well, Joe Flora had what was called Carlton and Coast Railroad that went up and covered that whole area up west of Carlton with railroad. And they bring trainload after trainload every day, logs as this table.
Yeah.
Wide,
right?
Huge,
old growth.
One log to a flat car.
I was gonna say one. They called them one loaders or something.
One log to a flat car.
Yeah,
not a truck, but a railroad flat car.
Wow.
Some of those were just unbelievable.
Are there any of those trees out here anymore?
You don't see any of them left at all like that.
Yeah,
you don't. There's a few. There's one big tree up on the mountain up here.
Yeah.
That I don't know if you've ever been up there or not, but it's a huge old. There are several of those big trees in that one area there.
Yeah,
8-10 foot through,
Yeah, yeah.
But boy, that out of Carlton, between there and Tillamook, it was probably the best tree growing area in the world. It's out from the southern Washington on the coast there, on the Coast Range.
Yep.
Down to Salmon River.
Oh yeah.
From there south, they started dropping off again. But that one area in there, they had some humongous trees. It was quite an area.
It's a temperate. I think it's like the only temperate rainforest.
Yeah,
is what they call it. Or something.
Yeah, it was an amazing area. But like I say, when I was.
Tell about your first fish.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Tell about your first fish with your dad. The big fish that you got that your dad didn't.
Oh well. No, like I said, we'd go fishing practically every. Dad had a garage in Carlton, Oregon, and but every weekend we'd travel somewhere in the state, or in fact all summer. A lot of times we'd take off and he'd just let my son, his son-in-law, or my brother-in-law, or someone run his business, and we'd just take off and fish all over the whole
for
Northwest.
Trout, steelhead, everything.
Trout, you name it.
Yeah.
Mainly trout.
Yeah.
Dad was mainly a trout fisherman, and that was quite an exciting life for.
So he was your first biggest mentor.
Oh yes, yeah. He built his own lines. He built his own fly lines, with linseed oil and varnish, and his own rods. He was quite a thinker and an inventor. What some of the things he come up with invented originally?
Well, it was a windshield.
The windshield washers. He's one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's one. He had the first patent on.
So what did you do before those were out?
Huh?
Just before
the 20s, yeah.
Before, I guess you just had to wipe it off with your hand before you had those?
Yeah. Yeah, but he invented the first windshield washers and all that.
Yeah.
And a lot of other things. He was very, very brilliant guy.
On the coast when you got the fish.
What?
The fish you got on the coast when you were just little.
Oh, yeah, I was about probably 4 years old or something like that. And at that time, there was a little bridge that went across Nesquin Creek.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right, where you used to go across this bridge and then into the resort area there. And I was fishing off that bridge, and I caught 18-inch cutthroat off that bridge. I was fishing there with my mom, and Dad was fishing up on the Trask or Nestuck or something, probably fishing for trout. And I caught a bigger fish that day than he did, and that I'll still remember how proud I was of that guy.
Was it a cutthroat?
Yeah, big old sea-run cutthroat to come up the Nesquin Creek,
Yeah.
And there was no wooden bridge there at that time. And I can still remember.
What was in Nesquin? Do you remember what that looked like? Was it a town?
Not much.
Yeah, a couple of buildings or something.
Yeah, just a small little village there.
Yeah. We
spent a lot of time over there.
On
the coast.
Yeah, that was actually, we were talking to Jay Nicholas. That was his first fish. Or I think his first steelhead he caught was on Nesquin too. He told a similar story. Yeah. Huh. So you basically you were all fly fishing it was your dad was into all your life. And then when did the transition from like the Carlton and the whole out to here, how did all that take place?
Well, after when my dad died in 1932, we moved over to my mom married a gentleman, and we moved over to Canby.
Oh, okay.
And I was living in a little village, not even a village, a little area called New Era, which is just 3 miles north of Canby and about 5 miles south of Oregon City, right where Parrot Creek comes into the Willamette. And after my dad died, we moved. Mom married this guy from the Canby, and we moved over there. So. And I'd fish Parrot Creek all the time. In fact, that's where, on our first date.
Oh yeah, so maybe we can tell a little bit of the history about you two now. So that's where you met. Was it Canby?
It Canby, yeah. Yeah, and on our first date, I took her down and we fished for.
No, that was the second date.
Second date. The first date, right? Yeah.
Came to the door and
I
thought you were coming to talk to my dad, so. He called me to come back out and say, I think this young man wants to talk to you or something.
And I had to ask her dad if I could take her and go to the movies.
Yeah. Nice.
And I did.
So the second date, I should have known, because I came from a family that didn't do any kind of fishing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't catch any fish that day, but we caught crawdads. And I thought it was great. I had a ball.
Little Parrot Creek, which comes in there by New Era. And some of the side channels of that, side tributaries. Caught a lot of little crawdads. And
that was in December. That was in
November
5th. And then December 7th was Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so that was when things changed, of course. And he immediately went down to see if
I was already flying. I had my pilot's license.
Wow.
And when Pearl Harbor happened, and I knew I was going to be a fighter pilot because I was a superb athlete and just perfect vision.
Sure.
And so I went down the day after Pearl Harbor to enlist in the old Army Air Corps.
Yeah.
The first time I found out I was colorblind.
Wow.
And it broke my heart when the old flight surgeon come out and said, you're 90% colorblind more, I got to reject you. So I went in the Army instead.
Yeah,
no kidding.
He just waited for the draft.
Oh, wow.
Which gave us time for me to get old enough that Mother let us get married.
Oh, I see.
So we were married.
Oh, you were?
When he went into the service.
Yeah. Went back to the Armored Force School at Fort Knox, Kentucky, and took my basic training there, and then went down to Fort Oglethorpe for a while in Georgia, and then the old Camp Stewart, Georgia, Fort Stewart now, I guess it is.
Did you fish any of those places? You couldn't.
No.
Oh, really? In Georgia?
I fished was in Europe, in England.
I fished a little bit in England when we went over there.
Oh, you did? For like Atlantic salmon? Or?
No, just trout.
Just trout, yeah.
Well, actually, there was some Atlantic salmon in there. I saw some, but I was just fishing for the browns.
There was a Lord.
There's this Lord.
Load you a fly rod or something.
Yeah, this one fellow that owned this manor and big property owner. He actually, I don't know why he would hear. I was just a lonely little listed man, but he actually let me use one of his beautiful fly rods, and I fished on his property and for trout, browns, And like I say, I looking back at that was I can't believe that he would do that but he knew I loved it. You know,
Yeah.
I would go and just watch the creek and watch for fish. You know, and there were some browns in that little. It was just a creek about as wide as this table.
Wow.
But there were browns in there, something like that. Huge browns in some of the deeper pools.
So is that? I mean, that probably helped you keep a little bit of a connection to.
It kept well, while I was in England, it helped me keep my sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're in the Army. So now you go from thinking that you're going to be flying planes to you're on the ground, like with the D-Day sort of.
Yeah. The D-Day.
Yeah. When it landed on Utah Beach.
Really? So the whole storm the beaches and that whole thing?
All the way through the whole thing.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Man, people in my generation, or probably even further back, would never, I don't know, I guess people seen movies, but there was one, Saving Private Ryan was a movie that was like, that was the first time I had ever seen in my life, because I didn't really get the history stuff, that it took me and put me in that position. Like you felt like you were you know what I mean? And it blew me away, because it kind of gives me goosebumps now just thinking about that was you. You were out there doing that.
That's right. They really followed the same path.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I landed on Utah Beach and was involved with the Battle of the Bulge, the whole thing. And then we were just on the outskirts of Berlin when we got pulled back over the Elbe at Magdeburg, let the Russians come in and take that area.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to watch that whole thing when the Russians come in. And like I said, it was scary as heck.
Wow.
And I immediately sent a letter to Jeannie right when the Russians came in, and I told her that after what I had seen, I expected we were going to have some problems with the Russians.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I could not believe the inhumanity of that.
Right.
But we in the U.S. Army did not realize just what the Germans put the Russians through.
Oh, yeah.
When they went into Russia.
Right.
And so they were kind of getting back at the Germans.
Yeah.
But I talk about the old term rape, pillage, and burn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw it.
Wow.
I saw it.
And you saw Dachau.
Yeah, and then I was one of the first ones to arrive in Dachau.
Huh.
Saw that. Yep.
What is is there anything taken away from that whole experience that you took that maybe in a positive way helped you in your life, or anything that was?
It made me. How can I use the term I want to use? It made me a man. I'll put it that way.
And how old were you when you went in?
When I was in there, about 19.
Mm-hmm.
19,
so 19 years old, and you were left. When were you done?
Huh?
When did you?
3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, I went right through the whole thing.
Yeah,
and we were just on the outskirts of Berlin when we got pulled back. Let the Russians take over that area, and we were on a little place, just not a little place, but built a town by Magdeburg, Germany, on the Elbe River. When we got pulled back to the west side of that and watched the Russians come in, and it was scary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I'm super interested. I'd love to sit here. Maybe after we're done here, we could chat a little more about some of the history there. I was hoping you could maybe bring us into, I guess maybe take us to that point where you come back to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, and how does all that transition happen into the point where you guys wind up out here?
Well, when I come back from the Army, we were living in Canby. We were already married. I was married already.
I was living in Canby.
Yeah.
You were.
Yeah, I was But we come back, and I was looking for something to do, so after I got out of the Army, and we bought a restaurant in Roseburg.
Oh,
because I'd saved all his money that he sent home, and plus whatever I earned, and we had $3,000.
That was a lot of money then.
To start with, and his brother-in-law put in money to help us so that we could buy this little restaurant in Roseburg. Yeah.
That was the start of our Roseburg.
We didn't know a thing about a restaurant.
Didn't know anything about restaurants.
Found out.
What made you? Why a restaurant? Why not?
You wanted business
some kind of business.
Yeah. You wanted to work for yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be on my own, and we had this little it was a pretty good sized restaurant. How many we seat? About 80, maybe.
I don't know. It was business people.
What was the name of it?
Moore's. Well, actually, at one time it was Sullivan's Cafe, and then we changed it to Moore's Cafe.
Uh-huh.
And
it was in downtown, so
right in downtown Roseburg.
It was for the business people. And,
yeah. And every day I would take off and be up here on the river somewhere.
Oh, really?
After we got through the lunch hour.
After we got through the lunch hour.
So you didn't miss a beat. So you come back from the war and you're
on the river.
It's fishing.
On the river.
In Steelhead.
He knew that river was there.
Yeah, you betcha.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you had this fellow that taught you about where some of the pools were, and he wouldn't let you fish first.
Yeah, a friend of mine by the name of Reynolds.
Yeah.
Huh. He showed me the first one really showed me the river up there in 46, 47. And he wouldn't let me fish through first. He always insisted that he fished first.
And he would show
you to mess it up.
No kidding. He'd say, okay, here's a run, here's a little rock. If you slide it next to that rock.
Yeah. And he would do it first and let me come behind him.
Yeah.
And after a while, I got better than he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
so you just started going by yourself?
Yeah. Then I would come up and I got so adept in a hurry that I was catching tons of steelhead. I mean, every time I'd come up, I'd catch fish, and even when they weren't many being caught. And so they had the old North Umpqua Lodge, Clarence Gordon.
And is that what became Steamboat?
Well, the lodge was on the other side.
Oh, across the river.
Yeah, it was on the other side of the river.
Gotcha.
And but Clarence, I was fishing in front of his guest a lot,
Oh yeah.
So he hired me to help take care of his guests.
To guide.
Yeah, so I wouldn't get in the road, I think, more than
So was that your first guiding?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I did, and met some really, truly wonderful people that wound up helping us immeasurably when I had a chance to buy Clarence out,
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we bought was the store that he made out on the river, because
Clarence had built this, where the Steamboat Inn is now.
Yeah.
Clarence had built a little, well, in fact, there's a picture of it.
By the front door.
Yeah, by the front door, there's a picture of it. The day we took over.
Yeah.
And, we had a very interesting experience starting that. And Jeannie had to do all the work, and I had all the fun. I'd go fishing.
Exactly right.
Huh.
No, it was very hard.
Yeah. So you had
years,
so the other side. So you have the current lodge now. That was the store. And then the other side was the lodge.
The old North Umpqua Lodge is on the other side of the river.
But he had closed that down because of the power company building the dams.
Oh, right. Okay.
So he had closed it down because he couldn't predict what was going to happen.
I see.
But the river would get muddy, and and
okay.
You couldn't have people come from all over the world. And
right. And what year was this?
And 47.
So 47.
47.
So this is when you started to see some effects from human logging and road building.
Originally it was building the dams.
Yeah.
And road building and things like that. And then they started building the dams, building roads up the creeks, And
that's when it got bad, when they started going.
And this is the dam. There's like Steamboat, there's the dam that's still there, about 6 miles up at the campground. Or not a dam, but there's a fish ladder.
There's a ladder.
Just a ladder,
Yeah, ladder up. Well, just above Steelhead Creek. There.
Yeah. Wow. So you basically, so now you're in it. So you've got this place, and you still have the place in Roseburg, the restaurant?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we sold it right away.
Oh, okay.
Well, we had it. We had it that summer.
Well, we tried.
We tried to run it that summer, and we just found out that was too far separated to try to do.
Gotcha.
So we.
In other words, the helper helping themselves, and
really?
Didn't work very well.
No kidding. Yeah, you're too spread out.
Yeah.
So then you focused and said, okay, let's sell that and put it all here. And then did you move up here to
Yes.
Oh, we were already moved.
Oh, you were already?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then, was this at this location?
No.
At Steamboat.
At Steamboat, gotcha. Okay.
We lived right in the building.
Huh.
And he, there was a fellow that was working on the road that left his equipment sitting there, and he told him
a D8 cat.
Yeah, and so that Frank took it down and cleared out a spot for some. I didn't know where he was going to put a cabin, but he had it figured out.
Yeah,
he cleared out a space and built 4 cabins that summer.
That's right. Wow. So slowly over time, you basically that became the Steamboat Inn, and that was
that by the time that summer was over, it was Steamboat.
It was okay, and you guys were all in there.
Absolutely.
And that was in 40, or what was the year of that when it first came?
That was 1957.
57, yeah. Because it was 57. You guys had that for 18 years up to 75.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what was in 75, why did you guys sell, or how that all?
We had lost a daughter in 1970. And when after that happened, it just made a difference for me just to still be there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And we had this property. We had to put some houses on it for rentals and so forth, and we just decided to build a place. And when
originally this was the location of the old Thunder Mountain
Lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And had a road going down off of this road. This was the road at that time.
Okay.
And he had a road going down about where the gate is down there now, and had some tent frames around that corner. That's where the old original
I see.
lodge was up here.
He really didn't get to run it.
No. He just got it started, and the first year he got started, here come the road and wiped out what he had to put in down there.
They just... he had no choice.
So basically we have the history. I mean, there's a lot more to it, I know, than that as far as everything, but you've got the Steamboat, you guys are going, then you eventually sell it. I would like to get a little more into just on like fishing, because a lot of the people that listen to this, they always love to, I know they'd love to hear about how you have caught fish over the years on the North Umpqua.
Any time that our guests caught a fish for dinner, and Frank, I'd say that's not enough fish, Frank, for everybody. So Frank could go out to my pool and get another fish.
That's right.
Bring it in.
And your pool is just...
And not my pool was actually his pool.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't...
Jeannie's pool was right below the end.
Oh, really? That's so funny, because we talked a little bit about my dad. Yeah. My mom's name is Marcia, and on the Deschutes, there's a run called Marcia's Drift. And it was the same sort of thing where she used to go out there and she fished spoons on the Deschutes, but she caught way more fish than anybody, and so that was her drift, and it's still.
He was the one that went out to up there. It was up there near the Mott Bridge. So,
okay.
Up there, that area.
Yeah.
He never told anybody where it was. He'd just go get the fish. And
I could hook a fish in it.
So what was it? So explain how you would get into a fish. I mean, what was any tips or secrets, or you just go out there? I mean, would you put on a special fly, or
just had this one place there that fish would stack up and nobody else knew they were there. And so they were never bothered. So.
And they're stacking up like in ledges, or?
Yeah, right against the ledges and holding in there. And I'd go up there and make one cast usually and have a fish.
And what was the cat? Like a long cast or a short?
No, about...
Really? Like 15 feet or something?
At the most, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many spots out there on this river now are
There's
still?
actually quite a few, but most people don't realize.
Yeah.
Most people, in fact, a lot of the people today will actually spook the fish.
That's right.
They will actually spook them.
Kind of good, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's a good tip that when
Yeah.
you come up, don't just walk up to you might have a fish sitting right out in front
Right
of you.
in front of you.
And
You
so you
bet.
would get up and like sneak up
I would, you bet I would.
like on your hands and knees.
You bet.
On our
And-
25th anniversary, when you were teaching me how to
Uh-huh.
fly fish seriously for steelhead, that's just what I did. I didn't see the fish until I got out and was walking along the side of the road, and you were fishing the area, and there went that fish, and it was right there.
Spooked.
I
First time
just
she
spooked him
realized
out.
there'd be a fish there, say.
Yeah, then that's when I realized that, there's a fish there. I don't have to think there's no fish. There is.
Romer Gray was Zane Grey's son.
Oh yeah.
He was the most stealth fisherman I've ever seen in my life. He would sneak up on the pool, and
Raleigh.
just crawl.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, he was something else. I'll tell you.
So you weren't necessarily catching all of these fish in like the tail out. You were catching some of them right in off tight in.
Yeah, a lot of spots were in little pockets, and things like that.
Right.
And that's one thing Romer taught me, boy.
Mm.
Romer and Lauren, both sons, stayed with us quite a bit in those days.
Oh, okay.
Among other people, Jack Hemmingway.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jack was a superb fisherman, Jack Hemingway.
He's the one that first introduced the spey rod to.
Yeah.
Okay.
To
So that was it. So that was the first spey on this river.
Yeah.
So far as we know,
Yeah.
that was the first.
And to date, have you ever casted a spey rod? No. So you never. Yeah. So what was the biggest reason why you never got into it?
They're a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
All that length, you don't need it. I can throw single-handed as far as they can throw those things. So
yep. Yeah.
So why use them?
I can't wait to share this episode with my dad because he sees eye to eye with you on this, and he never got into the spey either. You don't cast a spey rod. You throw it. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Exactly. You kind of huck it or shoot it.
You're cheating. Well, that's not quite the word for it, maybe, but.
So what do you think out here? So you have your single-handed rod all these years. You've caught lots of fish. I mean, what do you think? You hear people talk about it's a real challenging river to fish. Is it just the weighting? Is that the biggest thing?
That's a lot of it, yes. And the way the bedrock formations.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still, there's very few left now. The last few years, people have finally started really discovering some of the little pockets that most of them never knew before.
Right.
But all of a sudden, I'll go down and oh no, and then found that one now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for years, a lot of them, all I had to do was go down and make one cast, and I could find a fish.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And are the fish? Do you think they're extra spooky here? I mean, do you go with really long leaders? And
I don't know.
Okay.
9 foot.
Yep, just pretty normal.
That's all you need.
And the fish. So the weighting's tough. The river's pretty clear most of the time. So the fish are a little spooky, but nothing different than the other summer steelhead.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Main thing is just to get a good drift.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
and we talked about that a little bit off air. Is that the mending?
You're right, mending. And to me, these guys using weighted flies and stuff, it just
Can you use weighted flies?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you can use weighted flies.
And certain times of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's certain times when you can't.
There's certain times
you're
you
not
can't.
supposed to.
I think from the 1st of July to
September.
But you would think with summer steelhead, and I guess we're talking summers here,
right.
that I guess it's just in my experience, you're fishing flies on the top, or even riffle hitching and dries. Yeah. So why would you want to get down?
Because you stand a lot more better chance of hooking a fish.
You will. So that's it.
Oh yeah.
Just getting down to it. Yeah.
Getting down to them.
Yeah.
But I love to. Like I say, I just never have gone to the weighted stuff, except in the wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
And then I won't use some of the stuff that they use because, God, it's dangerous. You hit yourself in the back of the head.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't really need it,
Yeah.
You can catch fish without it. might not catch quite as many, but what the heck?
Huh.
It shouldn't be, to me anyway, a steelhead fishing on a river like this it's a real gift to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And to do it, make it like if I may use that crazy term, it's like going to a whorehouse.
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. It's down and dirty.
That's right.
That's I was going to say the same thing. That on the Deschutes, again, that's where I've done most of my summer steelhead. Mm-hmm. You see some guys out there, because you can use weight and all sorts of stuff. You'll see guys out there nymphing.
Yeah.
And it's always like, I always think, nymphing.
Yeah. But it's not nymph. It's like some of them will use a pound of lead.
Oh, yeah. The things are hucking out. It's crazy. But I always wonder, I'm thinking like, all this time, it's such a great river for swinging. Why not stay on the surface?
Did you ever know or hear of a guy named Bill Howland?
I've heard of it.
Yeah, he lived right there by Moppin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard the name.
Yeah, he used to have that. I'd have a place up on the hillside right above that run above Moppin there.
Oh yeah. I think Langtree's Riffle is what we used to call it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to go over there and fish with him a lot on that spot.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
He was a superb fisherman.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Huh. Wow. So you fished a lot of your stuff, not much down. Did you get into the surface dries too much?
Oh, I love dry fly fishing for steelhead.
Yep. So when would you pull those out? When versus like fishing just a wet fly?
Huh?
When would you go for the dries versus just a normal wet fly?
Same time, all year.
So summertime right now, August, September.
Up usually up till the water got down into say in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Anything above from probably 45 up.
Okay. Yeah. So right now you could go out there.
Yeah. This is ideal right now.
Okay. And when you're doing that, do you just tie it on and use a dry line and just swing it just like you would normally?
Well, mend,
And make your mend,
mend them and.
And you just want to get that wake.
Yeah. Just have it come across nice and smooth.
And what's that? How does that, for somebody that's never caught one on a dry? What does it look like? What does it feel like when that fish takes versus a wet fly?
Well, it actually, normal wet fly drift, there's very little. Because a lot of times on the wet fly, it's down below, you get an angle down like this when they hit, and they'll come up and
they'll hammer it anyway.
Hammer it. Yeah. Turn over the top and take it going down. Same thing you do on a dry fly. Except a lot of times on dry fly, if I'm fishing a regular dry, I'll be casting upstream, right like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then just have it come fairly close to me.
Okay.
A lot of times, and just let it float down. You'll see them come up, slide up underneath it right in front of you.
No kidding. Yeah. And you're doing will you do a downstream mend to try to speed
just taking, what you cast up like that, and then kind of just give a little flip mend like that, and you'll just kind of.
Wow.
And
so these fish, so like right there, a fish will take, and that's a fish that you've kind of snuck up so it doesn't see
right.
you.
Stay real low so you don't spook.
And when you're again back to that low, so are you casting like on your low casting?
Yeah. Usually it's like casting like that, it'd be up.
Okay.
Float down.
So what do you think if you had to say over the years percentage of fish that you've caught 30 feet or less versus more than 30 feet?
Well, it all depends on the time of year.
Okay. Say this time of year.
Summertime. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Right. You've got so many fish you get rid of.
Yeah. It just.
But you've got a lot both ways, right out front and right up.
You bet. Yeah. Wintertime, of course, you usually have to make a longer cast, but to get to some of the spots because you can't wade the places.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you got to cast further.
Okay.
But it's not that even in the wintertime it's not that difficult. A lot of places you'll have fairly short casts.
Okay. All right.
Let's take a quick break for a word from our sponsors. The original Tyrite is a long-standing accessory loved by fly fishermen for decades. It's an accessory you won't live without once you try it. No more drop flies or hooked fingers. If you haven't seen this tool yet, it's pretty simple. It looks like a pin, a little ballpoint pin with a retractable clip that allows you to basically hook the bend of your fly in, so you don't have to worry about fumbling with the tiny little fly or hooking your finger. And you just kind of finish the knot like spinning spaghetti on a fork. Just quickly do your twists and stick the tip it through, and you're good to go. All parts are manufactured and assembled in the USA with a 100% lifetime guarantee. And I like to use the example of the tiny little blue-winged olive, and in the wintertime. And that's always a good example because your fingers are cold, and sometimes it's hard to hold those little guys. But the Tyrite makes this easy. Using a size 18 BWO, you'd be using the Tyrite Junior, and it just makes it a snap. So just wanted to give a heads up for everyone. This is a great tool from a great company. I'm excited to have them on, and want to get you guys to head over to tyrite.com and check it out today. That's ty-rite.com. We are also brought to you by Ascent Fly Fishing. Do you struggle at times to tie the right fly on the end of your fly line? What if you had a biologist or entomologist with you next to you telling you exactly what was going on in the stream and what you need to put on? That's basically what Ascent Fly Fishing does with their custom fly box selections. And these guys aren't just a one-trick pony. They cover rivers all over the country, from Oregon over to Colorado, out to New York. They've got basically the entire country. And they're building on from what they've got. And I've got a great example because I have a box for one of my local streams, and it's super awesome and neatly organized. It even comes with a card that shows which rows each of the flies are. Breaks down dry flies on one side, nymphs on the other, and talks about different categories of basically the orders of flies, mayflies, caddis flies. It's just really organized, and a lot of flies are on there which were ones that weren't in my box. So I'm excited to get on that. And but yeah, you can head over and pick up a local selection from your stream. They have a 100% money back guarantee as well if you're not satisfied for any reason. So I think it's time to cut the guesswork out of it. Head over to ascentflyfishing.com and use the coupon code WETFLYSWING to get 10% off your next order. That's ascentflyfishing.com, ASCENT flyfishing.com. Okay, back to the show.
What do you think is so when you had the steamboat for 18 years, you guided most of that time, and then did you guide after, and what do you think in all the guiding time was the hardest thing about guiding?
I don't think there was anything really tough about guiding. The personalities of people, was probably the most difficult.
It was part of the whole thing. If the people stayed with you, that you would take them.
Yeah.
Well, that was just everybody knew that was the deal.
Yeah, I stayed at the end. Well, I'd take them out.
No kidding.
Charge.
It wasn't,
oh wow.
They weren't charged for it.
Oh, that's great.
So
wow.
And we had people come from all over the world,
of course,
to fish with us. And
so it was pretty. You knew most years in and out. I mean, the runs probably went up and down then as well, but you would get fish. You weren't too worried about catching fish.
Well, I fished practically every day, and I knew every flow of the river, where they'd be, and how to get to them.
And what do you think was if you go out in the morning for a morning, and are you fishing mostly just when the sun's not on the water?
I'd usually fish up till the time the sun come up.
And then you went, okay. And then
I'd go in and have breakfast.
And then, so you wouldn't fish too often when the sun's on the water?
No, I did a lot of it.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
And would you fish it any differently than you would?
No, well, a lot of times I would fish upstream.
Yeah.
And, they'll make a little upstream cast.
Yeah.
Because I knew exactly right where practically every fish in the river was.
Uh-huh.
At that time, I knew where every fish was holding, and I knew just how to.
You knew every little
nuance of how to get hook a fish, in different places.
Wow.
That's a lot of times I'd hook tons of fish close from here to there,
Yeah. So what was back in the day, do you think was a good, like a good morning fishing?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. If any time, if you could hook 2 or 3
Yep.
2 or 3 fish, you were doing
Feeling
well.
good. Oh yeah.
Yep. Then of course there were some days where you couldn't miss.
Some days you couldn't catch.
That's true.
And some days you couldn't catch.
Yeah. What were those days when you had when you couldn't catch if you had a client or somebody? Was it
Jack Decius.
Oh, yeah. Jack would go nuts, but most people appreciated it.
Yeah, just being here on this river. This is a
That's
beautiful
right.
river. I mean,
most people
old
appreciated
growth
that.
trees.
Well,
And,
what bothered Jack was the fact that other people were catching fish and he
Yeah.
wasn't.
oh, that's always tough. That's
He
yeah.
was a superb fisherman, most methodical fisherman I've ever. He was a chemistry professor at Oregon State,
Oh, okay.
and he was one of the.
Brilliant man.
He was a brilliant man. He could have. Every university in the world wanted him to be there,
No kidding.
and he stayed at Oregon State because of the North Umpqua
Wow.
River.
There you go.
Yeah.
And he would sneak out there, and it was interesting to watch him. He was the most. He wasn't the best caster in the world.
Yeah.
But boy, he sure knew this river.
And that was it. He knew it so well. He knew it. Same thing. He'd get within 10 feet of a fish.
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a superb fisherman.
Huh.
Decius, Jack Decius.
Okay.
And he was, like I say, he was one of the leading professors in the chemistry side in the whole world.
Uh-huh.
He stayed at Oregon State just for that.
No kidding.
First time I met him was in 1949. And he had this big...
At the old lodge.
At the old lodge, old North Umpqua Lodge. He had this big hat on, and it was the most hair I've ever seen any man below that hat.
Yeah.
And I went home that night and I said, Jeannie, I just saw met a man with the heaviest head of hair I have ever seen. The next time I saw Jack, he took his hat off, and he didn't have a bit hair up.
No kidding. Oh, wow. That's so he had hair. It was just,
Yeah,
it was
he had a lot of
all
hair.
down below these ears.
That's funny. Oh, man.
I mean, it was on the bottom end of the head. It wasn't any up on top.
Gotcha. So he had like an afro at the lower end of his.
We still have a tie to him because his son rents one of our houses.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's our mailman.
Oh, no kidding. There you go.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Huh. So you mentioned a couple of, I guess, mentors over the year. Is there anybody people that were mentors for you we haven't talked about?
I mentioned Curly Reynolds.
Oh, Curly.
Colonel Hayden.
Yeah, well, Colonel
Hayden is the reason we moved to this.
Well, Colonel Hayden's the one that loaned us the money to start the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was a retired military man who taught military science at Berkeley.
Oh,
And
wow.
he would come up every summer and
Stay up for a few weeks.
and fish, yeah.
Oh gosh, he'd come
And
back.
he
He was there more than anybody.
And he'd come up, stayed up when we started the inn. Well, he was there all the time.
And he at the end of the season, he would write us a note about how we could improve. What we
No
did.
kidding.
Yeah.
Typical Army.
Yeah.
colonel.
All right. Exactly.
However, his family, all of his family got the same kind of treatment.
Yeah.
So we felt pretty
That's right.
is okay.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
man, so people from all over the world,
Yeah.
did you see people up here
Oh,
coming
yeah.
in?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we did.
And what do you think? I mean, I just know being here, I mean, it's amazing. It's spectacular.
Mhm.
It's got steel. I mean, what do you think? Is there something that makes it so special? Anything that we...
Well, it's the nearest river to this, in my judgment, is the Locksaw in Idaho.
Oh, yeah. I've been on the Locksaw.
And the Locksaw is the nearest.
It's kind of like we're in a canyon.
Right.
Yeah.
We're in a pretty steep canyon.
And the fish the same way, and
Yeah.
Locksaw had some marvelous steelhead on it.
Oh, yeah.
It did. We don't know what it's like now.
Right, yeah, I don't know.
I used to be over there every year.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah,
I
we
used to love to go over there
every
and-
summer and
Oh, wow.
Fish it a little bit.
Yeah.
I had terrible to leave this river, but it was interesting to go and fish
Sure.
that too.
Uh-huh.
And I'd fish it the same way, and I'd was able to catch fish when a lot of the other people wouldn't.
Yeah. That is tough to leave your home river. I have that same challenge. It's just like being here now.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh man, you just want to keep fishing.
Yeah.
It's like somebody's, I just have that same thing. I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
So do you, I was out there this morning and I had a couple. I had one that I would say, like you talk about, we always thought grabs, tips, taps, stuff like this from fish. And when you get a summer steelhead that gets, today I had the kind of a grab. I mean, it was like a solid,
Right.
It felt like a steelhead, but I also caught a bunch of fish that were, some smolts and some smaller fish that were tipping it and some were on. Have you always seen that with fish that you're going to, or can you tell when you get that touch?
Oh yeah, usually.
Yeah.
And most of the time, your steelhead are going to be in a different spot than what.
Oh, there you go.
Your trout are.
There you go. So if you're catching trout, maybe you should be to a different
you might
spot.
not be quite in the right spot.
There you go. That's a good a good tip for sure.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
At least that's what I've found.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah, because the steelhead might be more down in a slot or in a
deeper,
a little
bit heavier.
Heavier, right?
Flow.
A little more protected.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. What do you think when you look back? And I'm not even sure when you were, if you're 25. I ask this question occasionally. When you were 25, is there any words of advice you would give yourself, looking back at that person? I'm not sure. 25? Were you guys married?
Yeah.
Oh, we were married. I was 17.
Oh, you were married. Oh, right.
From the war.
Yeah, you were married before. So
Yeah.
25. So you were back from the war.
Yeah, he came back from the war.
So you were back, and you'd already purchased the restaurant.
The head restaurant in Roseburg.
and,
Yeah.
and he had that little son that he was just so delighted with. Yeah, he had a breakdown. He had a breakdown that summer that our boy was a little over a year old. And we ended up letting his brother-in-law run the business, and we went down to his friend's, his cousin's farm, and we were there the whole summer, and we would go up in the mountains up on the Rogue, Upper Rogue, and little Frankie, was just this little thing. He'd pick up a stick and try to do what his daddy was doing,
He'd emulate me, casting that stick.
Yeah. So the first time that we leave there, he finds a metal fly rod in a store there in Medford, Frankie had his first fly rod.
No kidding.
Yes. And
how old was he?
He was about 15 months by then.
Holy cow!
Yeah, Frank had a breakdown there. He had heat stroke.
Oh.
And he had Frankie out with him to round up the cattle when it hit him, and he actually crawled back to the house.
Jeez.
And little Frankie walking beside him.
Yeah.
No kidding.
To get back.
Oh, wow.
It was out of Salmon Valley, out of Medford.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, Frankie was our fishing boy, I'll tell you. He really was.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking, as far as we talked a little bit at the start about kind of the war and some of the stuff, that whole part of your life. Mending the Line, the movie, which I think is coming out, or it's a documentary on your. Maybe you can talk a little bit about.
Oh,
it's been out.
It's been out.
Oh, it's been out. Okay.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. So maybe you can talk about how what that's about, or what is the story there?
What would you say it's about? Just basically about our life.
It's about you're going back to
Normandy,
to
Europe.
Actually, to Normandy, to the stream that you saw in World War II, and had seen this fish hanging on this building, and the thought just went through his head. Oh boy,
we were
fish there
chasing the Germans, and we're going. They were pulling back up out onto the Brittany Peninsula, and we were going to cross this bridge and over the Horn River, I think it was. And anyway, I looked down and I saw this beautiful Atlantic salmon hanging out on the wall outside this building down there, and I thought, oh God, if I could just stop and go down and fish like that now, I would love to be able to fish for one of those.
Yeah.
And that's why I went back over after, when I went back to Normandy, that's why I went back to there and was able to.
These young kids that had come up and done a fly fishing thing with Frank on the river here, asked him at the end of that time, said, Frank, what would you like to do if you had a chance to do something different with your life at this point? And Frank said, he said, I would really like to go back to Normandy and try to fish that stream. See
Catch
if I
some
could
salmon
find
out of that
salmon.
stream.
So that's it.
And that
You
was
did.
that was how the story started. They put it all together.
Wow.
And did the
Yeah,
film.
they filmed everything, and
Yeah.
we went over there for how long?
It was a very popular thing for
Yeah.
a while there.
Yeah, I hooked quite a few fish.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Fishing the same
Mhm.
sort of technique?
Well, he didn't get to hook too many because they were more interested in
yeah.
where,
That was
but
frustrating.
what it looked like for the camera,
Sure.
Yeah.
than rather
Yeah.
than whether there was a fish there or not.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That was frustrating.
Yeah.
But I went along with them.
Yeah. That's good. So I was noticing out on the road, I mean, this is a highway.
Yes.
This is
Down
not
below.
down below.
Yeah.
We have a highway. I'm not even sure the highway number or whatever, but
It's 138.
okay, it's that's right, 138.
138 east.
138 east. So I noticed as I was fishing, there's a lot of logging trucks
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
coming out.
But not like they used to be.
not like they used to be.
Yeah.
They used to be 10 times more.
Really, 10 times more.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been for a while. This summer they were really stopped because everything was so dry. And
Oh,
hot,
they had to
you
stop.
know.
That's right.
Yeah.
So now that they've got a chance,
Yeah, they're going.
they're
That's what it
going.
is.
Yeah.
They're up. Yeah, they're doing more and more. Okay.
yeah.
I wanted to touch just briefly because I think it is a big part of kind of some of the stuff you've done, and we were maybe we could talk just briefly about the Pass Creek, that another movie, right?
Yeah.
Another documentary,
Mhm.
Film.
another film that was back in the 60s, right? Early
I can't
60s,
remember,
I
late
think it was
60s.
somewhere in there.
66, 67.
Well, that was when it got. Yeah, but what you started early '60s, starting the record of because he right off the logging was changing it, the
Streams.
level,
Yeah.
the level, the water
Right.
coming into from the streams,
Muddy
Patton
and-
Creek
Yeah,
and Susan Creek. They were.
Yep.
I mean, Steamboat Creek. They
Steamboat,
were
right?
just hot. It was hot, and
When temperatures went from
so he
average of
every darn day
57
he'd be
up
out
to
there.
80,
He'd go and-
85.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow.
He'd go and take temperatures for all these little places where they were logging and everything, and because this BLM was the one that really got
Oh,
it
it
in
was
the
more than
movie.
that.
Yeah,
That was because they had this spot they really
sure.
Screwed up.
tore it up.
Yep.
And it just the other thing he did was when they finished the film, this man, he could fly. He had
All right.
we had a small plane
Yeah.
in Roseburg,
Uh-huh.
and he would take that plane and he would fly wherever that
All over the
the
United
BLM
States.
was, all over, mostly over Oregon though,
Well, on the Oregon and
but
Montana, Idaho.
No
and
kidding.
so forth.
all over.
And he would be
California.
in the audience when they brought out the film, and
Yeah.
and he would just make them look like fools.
Yeah.
And
Oh, and the film. So basically, the film was a
They
film
were-
showing
they were-
all the habitat destruction.
Right. And the BLM would try to confute that.
Yeah,
See?
and then you would be there.
I'd be in the audience.
Yep.
right.
And then I would just
Yeah,
shoot them
yeah.
down.
You jump out and right. So tell the other side of the
Really?
story.
I flew all over the whole country.
No kidding.
I had
Yeah.
a
Wow.
Piper Comanche, good, beautiful
He
airplane.
ended
Yep.
up in actually Washington D.C. for
Wow.
to talk to us.
Congressional hearings.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you were, a conservationist when conservation wasn't even a word,
That's
much of a
right,
word,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Well, these fellas took that on to do that film. It was really interesting because they were set to go do some film up in Canada or
Canada.
something, and it followed through. And Frank said, "Well, look, guys, this needs attention."
Yeah.
And
Oh, really?
And
So nobody knew about this.
No, so they just started.
Well, I was trying to show people what was happening, but
It takes something like that.
Yeah.
But these guys were professional movie people
Sure.
from Los Angeles.
Yep.
And they come up and I
San
said,
Francisco,
hey,
actually.
I want to take you on. I want you to make a film.
Right.
And that's where that Mending the Line came from.
Okay.
And it was that film that did it because it
Really changed things.
It just showed the bleakness of what they were doing.
Yeah.
You
Did
know?
you see when that was going on, direct, like Steelhead runs and effects of,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
No question.
You saw. Well, you couldn't. It was so muddy you couldn't fish because.
Well, yeah. Even when
that.
it wasn't muddy, though, they would wipe out the gravel bars.
Oh yeah. Oh right, because all the
Well,
yeah.
What they were doing was just changing the whole makeup of the stream.
Of the stream, yeah.
Run
right through the middle of the stream with the cats,
Wow.
Doze them out.
Well, and that was, I think, that's been done all over the.
Oh yeah.
They figure the fish would
Yeah.
survive anything.
They could do it and do it right.
Wow. And
not hurt anything.
Yep.
And that's what I tried to point out.
I see.
And we finally got that across.
Yep. And now I think I'm not sure what the name of the bill is, but there's a bill in Congress, the Moore Foundation. I'm not sure the exact name.
Sanctuary.
Moore Sanctuary. That's it. But it's on hold until something changes.
Sure. But there is this thing out there. Oh, right. Yeah, because of the politics. But there is this bill, and I know there's people that are still pushing to get this done, which would set aside a large chunk of land.
Complete,
that whole drainage.
The whole drainage.
Steamboat Creek
drainage. The whole steamboat, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Would basically protect that for forever.
Perpetuity.
Wow.
Yeah, because there is that.
You'd still be able to log it.
Yeah.
But you'd have to do it with extreme care.
So
and take other resources other than the timber into consideration.
Yeah. Was that, how did it feel? Did it feel like...
well, he was off running to do this and running to do that, Somebody had to stay and run the place.
That's right. Oh, wow. So you're out here doing all this conservation stuff, and you're running the whole... And so while you're doing this, so are you also out there guiding the fishermen too?
No guiding.
All right. No. So basically during that time, the people that were coming up here didn't have a guide.
Well, actually, that's when they started the steamboaters group and all that, because...
but our son was and is just a superb fisherman.
Oh, really?
Frankie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was.
Frankie was, how old was he that time he took Lauren out? 12 or something? Something like that.
10 or 12.
And you sent him out with
Lauren
because
Zane
you
Grey's
were busy?
son. He went out with Lauren Gray and Frankie outfished Lauren.
Well, Lauren went through the water and he didn't catch anything, and Frankie came in behind him and caught something.
Caught fish.
Lauren was so unhappy.
He was really ticked off.
Yeah.
That, he said that this kid had no manners
at
all. And Frank said, well, what did you say? Well, Lauren,
I just said, Lauren, I says, he is just a kid, but he's a damn good fisherman.
Yeah. Wow.
Because Lauren thought he was one of the best.
Well, Lauren was a good fisherman.
He was a good fisherman.
Yeah.
Frankie outfished him.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is, wow. So there's some big, in your life, this conservation piece, the river, when you look back, say, look out 50, 100 years from now, and you look back, is there something you would want to, you'd want you guys to be remembered for? Anything special?
Yeah, really the thing would be wonderful to think that the river was
still here.
Mm-hmm.
Still there and producing fish.
You can still catch steelhead.
Yeah. And other things too, even the little cutthroat and everything else in the stream is to me, is very, very important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the forest too.
And the forest too, yeah. But you can log and do it correctly. You won't screw things up. That's basically.
Yeah.
I mentioned that already.
Yep. No, there's ways to do it for sure.
Do it right.
Yeah.
And all the resources can be utilized.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always ask all my guests as far as flies. I'm not sure if you're into some names. Do you have a name of a fly you could send out to everybody? Or a fly you love to catch a fish on, or maybe you caught a lot of fish on?
Muddler.
Well, yeah, but
but that's the one that got put on the...
Yeah, but
the muddler?
Ugly muddler.
Yeah, the ugly muddler.
Oh, the ugly muddler.
Yeah, but basically the old skunk fly was...
Oh, the green butt skunk.
No,
not the green butt, the skunk.
That green butt is just a bunch of hogwash.
Yeah. So you don't like the green butt?
Well, it's all right, but
it's all right.
It was Dan Calahan's creation.
Oh, it was. The green butt is Dan Calahan's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and and what was Dan Calahan again? He was
an attorney from Salem.
Okay.
He was on the Fish and Wildlife Commission with me.
Oh, I see.
And superb. Dan was a superb fisherman
and photographer.
Huh?
And photographer.
And photographer.
No kidding.
He took
Yeah, we've got a lot of
a lot of
pictures.
those
Oh,
pictures
I
Oh,
up
no
here.
kidding.
up here.
Oh, they are. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And some of the pictures I noticed in the steamboat, there
Yeah,
were
they're
some. I saw
Dan's.
his name, some Dan's. Yeah.
those are
Okay.
Dan's.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the skunk. So you like a white wing, right?
Yeah, the white wing.
It's got a white wing.
That's the old skunk.
That's the
fly.
old skunk.
Yeah.
Little red tail.
Yeah, red tail and
Uh-huh.
black body and silver.
Okay,
trim.
so that's your go-to wet
Yeah.
fly.
That's one I always used.
I like black
and it's
too.
just as good as any of them.
So do you think a purple fly, black fly, Roy,
Doesn't make it.
doesn't matter. Get in front of the.
Yeah, get it. The main thing is get them in front of the and present it right.
If somebody was coming out here for their first time and you just had to tell them a little tip about maybe finding a fish to get their first fish in this river, what would you tell them?
Find a rapids, or fast water. Go above that fast water and if you can find a rock or a ledge. And a lot of times the fish will hold against that ledge where there'll be a little bit of break in the current, or in front of a rock, or
On
ledge
the side.
rock or whatever it may
And
be.
in front being like maybe upstream of a rock,
Upstream of a rock
Upstream
or
of
a
a
ledge
rock.
or something
Yep.
like that.
because they're on that.
There's a break in the current right there,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll hold right in that soft spot.
So
And usually they don't like that heavy current.
Yeah.
And they'll find that soft spot every time.
when you're using when you're out there swinging and you got your 9-foot leader and then your fly line, how do you know to judge where your fly is to make sure it's
You
going?
can see it.
You see it. Oh, you can see your.
Usually, yeah, you
Yeah.
can see it. And you can also follow the line.
Yeah.
If you got 100, 115, 120 feet out, follow the end of that line. It's right there somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have to be exact, but just get in the general.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Wow. Is there a fish out of all the years? Any memorable story? Anything that comes to mind? Or one fish, maybe a big fish, one that.
What about that one that right up at the Bogus Creek that you went?
Oh, yeah.
That was there for all summer,
all
and you
summer.
kept trying to catch it.
This one fish that it would I don't know, it had to be.
It was a big fish.
It was a big fish. I would say it was probably 15 to 18
Jeez.
pounds. Good summer
Yeah.
Steelhead. And it held there for weeks. And I would try for it.
We were coming down from this old road.
Yeah,
down to that
it wasn't the
spot.
road wasn't where it
It
is
wasn't
now.
any
See, it was
higher.
up here.
Oh, right.
It was way up high in the mountain.
Huh.
And I would go down
So not too many people were fishing.
No. This area through here was never fished.
Oh, no kidding.
Never. I'd fish it, but nobody else was crazy enough to drop over the
Sure.
run down the bank like I did. But yeah, that I can still
So you had this fish that was in there all summer.
all summer, and he would come after the fly a lot of times, then fall back, and it was right at Bogus Creek, and why he stayed there that long,
Yeah.
I never could understand it. But he was there for a good month, 6 weeks.
No kidding.
Stayed that exact same spot, and it was a big fish. And finally, I can still see it. Made that cast across there, and the fly come across in front of me, and here he came. Nailed it,
He took it.
and I hit him so hard I popped him off.
Oh, no way.
It just
Oh,
boom.
Roy. You mean you had it? Did you feel him?
Oh, just for a second.
Wow.
I really
Well-
hit him.
What did that feel like?
I felt like an ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
I can
The
still
one
feel
that got away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can still feel it and still see that happening.
There you go. Gosh, that's one of those things I've had that happen too before,
Yeah.
where you don't ever forget about it sometimes.
No, you won't. I can still visualize it. I can see myself fishing for that fish time after time. Watching it. He'll come out and then he'd go back and
Yeah.
come out and go back. Oh, several weeks like that, and he held that same spot.
Yeah.
And finally, I hooked him, and that was the last time I saw him.
Wow. That was it.
That was
He,
it.
he
He
felt
moved on upstream.
yeah,
That's
that
what
moved
it
him. That
He
got him
didn't
going.
like that spot
Wow.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Anyway.
I think we've done a pretty good job here. As far as kind of some of the questions I had, do you have anything else that maybe you want to we didn't touch on
He's done
here?
a good job covering
Yeah.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just like I say, it's a blessing that she'd put up with me.
Yeah. So how many years has it been that you guys?
75.
75?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
75,
amazing.
going on 7. Just
That is
about
absolutely
76.
amazing. And
Yeah.
and what is for people out there, what is there a secret? Any tip you want to give people?
Yeah. You have to put up with her.
Is that how it is?
No, you have to be. I'm blessed.
You just
I'm blessed. I'll put it that
you
way.
love each other and you just want
You
to make
bet.
things work. That's
Yeah.
all.
It hasn't always been easy, but
Oh no, it wasn't always easy.
Yeah.
You know, when he had that effect from the war, you know, that was a hard one.
right.
to go through.
Yep.
At the time when we lost our daughter, actually probably brought us closer together
Mm.
if it did anything,
Right.
really.
Well, it's
Right,
pretty
yeah.
amazing to you guys are inspiration for me,
Mhm.
and not only fishing and where you guys live, but yeah, you guys 75 years that's pretty amazing.
I say it's not hasn't been difficult at all.
Yeah.
No, really, basically it hasn't.
It's been a beautiful life.
It was when we moved up here on the hill. I think we had a little.
I didn't, but you did.
Well, okay, we had a little bit of having to
Adjustment.
Yeah.
adjustment.
Just being
because it was
away from
so
everything.
different.
From the end, yeah.
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 And I was still busy. See, really trying to do things, build all the houses. And
Oh, right.
And one of the neighbors, that's because I don't know. I guess I spoke crossly to you somewhere. One of the neighbors said to me, she said, we should speak nicely to our spouse. And I thought, gee whiz, what do I sound like? Well,
Yeah.
She's been an angel.
yeah,
Huh.
so I don't know. It's just one of
She's
those
been an
things,
angel.
Yeah. That's good
But here
stuff.
we still are. So
Yeah. And you were, I was just thinking, 94?
95. He's 95.
95.
Just going on 96.
Wow. Yeah. And so is there any secrets there of how you?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Well, the best thing I can say is
Take a nap every day.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to ask you that because when I called the other day,
yeah.
you mentioned that he was out in the car taking a nap,
Yeah.
and I love that because maybe that's the secret.
Well, we got back
Have a
from
good
town.
sexual
And
life.
Oh, there you go. All right.
we got back from town, and he was tired,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
just sat there and took a nap, and
That's perfect. Oh, I love taking naps. That's
have a wife that chases you all over the place. See?
okay.
Yeah.
That's what she is.
All right, good stuff. So the next 6 to 12 months, anything new going on? You guys are going to be just hanging out here?
What are we gonna do?
I don't know, kids will come for
Yeah.
Alaska for a month.
Oh, they're in Alaska?
Yeah,
yeah,
Frankie, our
Frankie,
oldest son.
the
Oh, wow.
fishing kid. But,
Okay.
but
Yeah,
actually, he
he's
doesn't fish so much anymore.
Yeah, he ran the emergency rooms in the big hospital there in Anchorage for
Oh.
years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
He's an MD.
Oh, okay.
He was
Emergency
graduated
room.
from Oregon State,
Huh.
and then Oregon Health
OHSU?
Science Center.
Yeah.
OHSU.
OHSU, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a graduate of there.
So
Wow.
he and his wife and their one adopted daughter come down and spend about a month with us.
Oh, cool.
He is one of the.
Gotcha.
mid-November.
Okay, so that's coming up here.
He has been one of the. He is a superb fisherman.
Is he? So he comes down, when he
Yeah.
gets here in October, he's going to be fishing.
Well,
Well,
maybe.
Maybe, and not as
won't
much as
fish
he used
much.
to.
Yeah.
He won't fish much.
Yeah.
He has MS. Well, that makes a little difference.
Oh, really? Yeah.
But he's really doing
He's
pretty
doing
well.
pretty darn well. You
I-
wouldn't know it.
I just heard somebody talking about the MS. I'm not sure what, where he's at and stuff, but I heard about these hyperbolic chambers. Have you ever heard of that? You guys probably haven't. There's some new stuff. Maybe he's heard of it.
He'll be on it.
Yeah, he'll be on it. But there's
He'll
this.
be on
There's these actual. I heard this one person who's had MS for whatever it was, 20 years,
That's
and
what he is.
and he's managed to basically keep it controlled using this.
Well, he was 50 when he was diagnosed with it,
Well, he'd had it longer
and
than
he's
that.
71
Yeah.
now.
And he's 70. Okay.
He'd had it before that. We just
Gotcha.
didn't realize what was going on.
Wow. Yeah, he's 70. So that is amazing. Let's see, my dad is almost 80.
Uh-huh.
So my dad's kind of in between,
Mhm.
in between there. But yeah, it's that's one of the things I always, with him. I remember about 15 years ago when he kind of slowed down, and I became the one that was fishing more. But he's still out there. He still likes to, he doesn't get out as much. But
Frankie is. I mean, when he fishes,
he's good.
yeah,
He's
Frankie,
a good fisherman.
he is a
Still is.
superb. He's a superb caster.
Yeah.
He really is.
When he was younger, there wasn't anybody any better.
Yeah. Well,
And Dennis, our other son, he
never wanted to compete.
no, he didn't. No,
He didn't want to compete with Frankie.
He did actually guide a few people.
Yeah.
When he was in high
So
school.
Dennis is your younger?
He was younger.
Yeah, he lives in Glide.
Oh, Glide.
And
Okay.
our daughter, our other daughter, lives in Glide.
Oh,
so,
okay. So right down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
Oh, good deal.
Yep, we're very blessed to have him that close.
Yeah.
Frankie, I say, he still lives in Alaska.
Uh-huh.
And
Then you have some grandkids?
Well, yeah, we've got grandkids, and now we've got great grandkids.
You got great grandkids. All right.
Yeah, we've got 5 great grandkids at this point.
You can track up my daughter.
They're all from Frankie's side of the family because it's Brianna and it's Christian that have had kids.
Who's teaching them to fish?
Nobody.
Nobody?
Frankie will be here.
Yeah.
What is this? Now, Frankie will be here in about a
I
month.
think that Brian likes to fish, Reezy's husband, but I don't think
He
they
doesn't
fish
do much of it. Huh?
He just doesn't do much.
So out of all
they live in Colorado,
Okay.
which has some good places to
that's
go.
good fishing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, I think. So 3 boys or 2 boys?
We have 2 boys.
2 boys.
2 boys, okay, yeah.
We had 2
2
boys and
boys
2 girls.
and we
Gotcha.
had 2 girls. So
Okay.
we
Lost to one.
I see, yeah. Yeah, I was just, again, making the comparison. I have 3 older brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was doing that interview with my dad, we were talking about my brother has a son who doesn't really fish much.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really think about it, but it surprised me because I just assumed that everybody fished.
Well, Dennis did.
Well,
Yeah.
Dennis doesn't now.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah.
But he got a
He
kick
never
out
liked
of
to
it when
compete with Frankie.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yep.
Well, he just wasn't going to compete with.
He wasn't going to compete.
Right.
Frankie was
Frankie
the
was
one that
good.
everybody loved.
Right.
Everybody wanted to take fishing and go out fishing
Yep.
with him. And Dennis just didn't want to compete with that.
Yeah.
Well, and Frankie, it's really Dennis kind of, he was the other kid, really.
Yeah.
Frankie was your baby when we got back from the war, and
Mm-hmm.
and he loved anything you did. My gosh, he'd follow you around anywhere, and I don't know. Dennis just didn't want to compete with that.
No. That was too bad in a way.
Well, in a way, but Dennis
He had his own life.
Dennis is he's doing a good job.
He's a good son.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great son.
Right now. Dennis is 65,
Mm-hmm.
just turned 66, and I still haven't gotten his birthday card.
That's right, September the 3rd.
And let's see, he's still driving ambulance for Bay City Ambulance.
Uh-huh.
EMT.
Oh, wow.
And he's an EMT for Glide.
So you got a couple of kids that are into the medical. Why do you think that?
I don't know, but Dennis is really, really, really good at that EMT, all that business. He's really good at it.
And that's got to be a tough job too.
It is. He's called it all kinds of day and night.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I say, Frankie was a graduated of Oregon Health Science Center,
Yep, which is one of the leaders.
Dennis graduated from Oregon State in whatever it was.
Geology.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he was up and finding things for.
He was all over Alaska.
Yeah. He was up in Alaska.
Placid Oil Company.
Oh, I see.
But he was basically on the Hard Rock. He was in charge of the Hard Rock mineral exploration for
they would do
Placid Oil Company in Alaska.
Gotcha.
But they found out that the hard rock mineral thing wasn't going to amount to much up there, so he ended up getting into the building. He just got a job there as a
construction
in Alaska. Then he got married to Jan, and they got married in this house.
Oh, no kidding.
Frankie got married in this
Wow.
house.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a cool house. This is. Did you build this house?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you built this.
Yeah.
That's why it's so cool. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, yeah, it's a log cabin.
Every notch.
No kidding.
Whittled.
How long did it take you to build this?
Still working
Well,
on it.
we never finished all the trim or anything.
Yeah.
But we just didn't care. So
Sure.
that's the way that went.
It's a rough house, so what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been standing for how many years now?
Well,
built
we finished it we moved.
75.
Well, 75. We didn't move in until Denny and Jan got
1980.
married into this part of the house.
No.
There's an apartment up over the garage
Oh, there is.
here,
Oh, okay.
right through that door.
Gotcha.
Up, and
Oh, yeah.
that, we lived in that until we got this part. Because we got a job with the National Park Service up in Alaska, in the Bush, Alaska. And so we were going there in the summers instead of finishing up building here.
Uh-huh.
So everything kind of slowed down. And what got us going again was when Denny and Jan were going to get married and
Oh,
wanted to get
gotcha.
married here. So then
Oh.
we got with it to get.
Oh, so you actually built it up and finished it, and
Yeah.
Still not finished.
We had it all pretty much ready to move into, except for the kitchen, and we had to get the kitchen done. So
wow,
yeah.
oh,
So
what a
that was
perfect
great.
spot. Yeah.
We had that one for Dennis Black. He had
How many weddings we had? Three.
3 weddings. And has that pond? How long has the pond been out there?
Well, we finished that. You finished that when you
75.
were when you were coming back from Alaska. Yeah. So that was 80.
1980.
I
Huh,
think it was about
1980.
80. when you
So
finished it.
if I grab my trout flies, I might have a chance to catch one back there.
They're
You do, and you-
babies.
You do, and
There
you'll
are
probably
babies.
wind up in the pond.
So nobody fishes for them unless it says.
We
let
let
kids.
little kids
Oh, yeah.
fish
Oh,
for
cool.
a little
Cool.
while
That's
or
awesome.
whatever.
There's some probably go 8 pounds. in
And we
there.
let
Yeah.
people out there cast,
Oh,
fly
yeah,
fish,
casting
fly
pond,
fishing.
fly
sure.
casting
Yeah.
out there.
Perfect. Well, I guess you got the river only
Yeah.
stones, almost a stone's throw down.
Well,
it feels
I
like.
own both sides of the river.
Yeah, right here. There's
Yeah.
a little piece of
Oh, really?
land on the other
Yeah.
side of the river that's part of this.
No kidding.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Which
So I
we've
own the
never-
river here.
Ah,
Well, I don't think that it'll hold up in court, right?
Well, I could keep them from going along the side.
Well, there you go.
Well-
You have to put a sign up.
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna.
No fishing, no trespassing.
There you go. Well, if you have a sign, I can put it up when I'm down
Yeah,
there tonight. But hopefully, I might not catch a fish tonight, but I'm definitely gonna have a good time. I'm
Yeah.
gonna find some new water.
So you're gonna stay.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna camp. I think that little camp up above is perfect. There's
Bogus Creek.
no, I was up above.
little
it.
Island
tiny
camp.
Yeah, the island.
Oh, island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's a neat little cave.
Yeah.
Except you do have some noise there.
that's the one. Right, it's right there. But I see
Yeah,
it
but
pretty
Williams
soundly.
Creek, you don't get that noise.
Oh, at Williams.
Williams
well-
Creek is not allowed even people to stay in there anymore.
Yes,
Oh, they
you
changed
can.
that.
No,
Can't you?
no, it's still.
Yeah, I didn't see
Honey,
that
I
one.
bet you can.
Huh?
You can camp. You can camp
Well,
in there.
don't tell anybody, but because they've got a sign in
Yeah.
there.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I saw that
Well,
one.
it was after the 09 fire that they did that, so it's been a while.
Hmm.
It's
I
been a
bet you
long
can camp. I
time.
bet you can camp in there.
Well, they've never gone in there and cleaned it out.
I bet you can
I
camp
don't.
in there.
But yeah. Well,
well,
I'm
the
not
Susan
gonna
Creek. That's like the.
That's too
Susan
many
Creek
people.
is
Yeah,
so
that's
busy.
it's crazy. I mean, that's your
Oh.
RV thing.
Yeah.
You know, the reason for that is that there's
The showers. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
And
Yeah,
the wives want the showers.
exactly. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
too much for me. I'm more of a
Yeah.
the camp. I like the unimproved
The
camp
guy
stuff.
that runs the one right up here, Bogus Creek, he's a peach. He's
Oh, really?
really nice.
Okay.
Dan's a good piece.
Yeah.
But just on the other side of the Mott Bridge here.
Yeah.
Not Mott Bridge, but the Right Creek Bridge. Go up there and there's a couple of neat little.
Oh, you
There's some
go
cabins up
across.
there.
You go across the bridge and
Yeah.
go back up there. There's a
Some couple of
campsite,
neat little
an unimproved
campsites in there.
campsite in
Oh,
there.
really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, no kidding.
If there's nobody in there,
Oh, wow.
it would be nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm pretty easy.
Uh-huh.
I'll probably fish till dark and then sleep and get up in the morning before. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get up before the light so I can maybe get a good spot. It's going to be busy tomorrow. I don't know.
You're going to sign our guest book.
Yeah. All right. Well, let me, just thank you guys for having me over.
Well, gosh,
I appreciate it.
after you sign the book, you're officially part of us.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is kind of everybody who stops by gets to sign, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we had a bunch of retired military guys up here last Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Had quite a party out of that one.
No kidding.
Well, they were all PTSD recovering guys. So.
Have you guys heard of there's that fly fishing group? There's a group that's who they work with. I'm drawing a blank.
Serenity.
No, it's
well, no, that's just local. Yeah. We have a friend that when he came home from Germany, what was that, 3 years ago now? Anyway, that's what he's been doing ever since, and his wife is helping him to put together a deal working with PTSD guys, fly fishing with PTSD guys.
Yeah.
And he works really hard at it.
Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on the name of but I'm going to be interviewing them next month. But basically what they do is they take people that have been to war with all the PSD, and some of them have never fly fished in their life, but they teach them how to fly fish and give them everything they need and teach them how to tie flies. And a lot of them say it changes their life.
Doing that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What's
that?
Rusty Linenger?
No, I haven't heard.
There's some other people doing it.
Bend or
no, this is a national organization. It's a if I said it, you would know. I'm just drawing a blank on the name. I'll put a link in the notes for this.
Okay.
But yeah, they just do great stuff. They basically take people out.
Well, Rusty's working with the VA locally here.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha.
So he has fly tying shops. Periods over the VA.
Yeah.
Too, for guys that are interested.
And he brings them up here and let me work with them.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, they'll bring up every so often they'll get some that are kind of staying in at the VA.
Gotcha.
For a period
I'll bet
of time.
it's the same group.
Yeah.
I'll bet it's connected to that group because that's
Yeah, they bring them up in a bus.
So that's exactly.
With them.
Okay. Wow. So you're still doing all sorts of stuff. I mean, so again, it gets back to that thing. You guys have some amazing energy here. You're
not really.
Not really anymore.
No, we do okay.
Yeah. Oh, he's still driving. He still
no kidding.
He still gets into town.
I can still outcast most people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Most people work too hard at it.
Yeah.
Guys.
Most people.
Yeah.
Because every once in a while you get a woman up there and she picks it up right off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah, casting shouldn't be that much work.
It is.
It should just be, if you do it right.
Let the rod do it.
Let the rod do the work.
Yeah. And timing and the rod action.
Do you fish, you have a bamboo? Have you ever fished bamboo?
I have several bamboo.
You have some bamboo?
Rods.
Yeah.
A lot of rods in the closet over there.
Yeah.
These are ones that he would get out every once in a while, but gosh, he hasn't. I think the fly rods that you've been using are standing up around someplace. I don't know.
I saw a couple on the front deck.
Yeah.
So
I don't know where.
Yep.
Nice. Well, this has been great. Appreciate this. I hope you guys weren't too bored throughout my.
No, it's nice having you here.
We appreciate your wanting to.
Yeah. Oh, this is people are gonna love this. I've mentioned this a little bit to a few people about coming out here.
So there you go. If you want to find all the show notes with all the links we covered, just go to wetflyswing.com/46, and you'll probably want to stop back in next week as I sit down and chat with another fly fishing legend, John Gierach. So, thanks again, everyone, for stopping by to check out the show today. I'm looking forward to catching up with you soon and hope to connect with you online or on the river. I have a little survey I want you to take if you have time. This will help me better understand who is listening out there and help me kind of guide more of the discussion. So the link will be in the show notes. It'll be at survey.lipson.com/wetflyswing. So don't worry about writing that down. Just go click over in the show notes and you'll see a link right at the top of the page. And that would help a ton. I'm going to run this survey here and then I'll get the information together, and then I'll be able to better, like I said, direct the which way the show is going.
Thanks for listening to the Wet Fly Swing Fly Fishing Show. For notes and links from this episode, visit wetflyswing.com. And if you found this episode helpful, please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes.